Oh boy, I hope you guys are ready for some game dev drama. So today, a game called The Day Before just launched. Now this game is rather infamous, you can say. People speculating that it doesn't even exist, that it's just a scam, and it looks like a AAA game made by Ubisoft, but really it's made by a small team coming out of Siberia. And today we finally got to see the truth, and the outcome is an absolutely catastrophic launch. Perhaps the worst launch I've ever seen for a game of this hype. This game was the #1 wishlisted game on Steam. So what went wrong? So let's go back to January the 27th, 2021, when the first trailer for this game dropped. It blew people's minds. It looked like DayZ in the next gen. And not only did it look beautiful, but it showed so many sophisticated interaction mechanics, and it's the type of game that all survival MMO players really wanted. So this was touted as a open world survival MMO. Now people were very dubious because they're thinking, how can you have such a good looking game and scale this up to an MMO size? So people started digging, who is the team behind this? I mean, because it's obviously a very sophisticated looking game. People then determined that this was not some AAA studio or even AA really. This was a small team run by a bunch of brothers with seemingly no experience making games like this. But regardless, the hype train had officially left. The biggest streamers and YouTubers were covering it, the biggest news sites like IGN, and quickly the game shot up to become the #1 wishlisted game on Steam. The #1. Consider what it takes to accomplish something like that. To beat out, Carlson by Danny and every AAA game. It's no joke, that's a big deal. And then the page mysteriously disappeared from Steam, and it was later revealed to be a trademark infringement issue, which was resolved and the page was reinstated. And then people started digging further. It was then exposed that the team was using free labor to make this game. But you see, they were calling it volunteering. And when they were exposed, they even made a video on their official YouTube channel, doubling down, talking about their romantic notions of volunteering. Let me show you this, it's ridiculous.
Whatever you do in life, you do it willingly or unwillingly. If you do it willingly, it becomes a heaven. If you do it unwillingly, it becomes a hell.
What are these guys talking about? And look at this guy's grinning here. They move around like a bunch of Oblivion NPCs using the most contrived PR talk I've possibly ever seen.
Fantastic culture is based on the idea of volunteering. Being a volunteer means that you willingly take part in working for a common cause.
The idea of volunteering comes from our own experience and aspiration, or in other words, to become a person who says yes to life. Volunteering means that in every action you take, you bring a certain pleasantness.
So that's their attempt to convince you that them having free labor at their studio is a good thing. So they're talking about volunteering and how great it is to volunteer, yet these guys are not volunteering. These guys are getting paid, of course. It's just everyone else who is volunteering. And let's see that, comments turned off. And I love how they've explained in quotations, the word volunteer comes from the Latin word. I mean, what the hell are what are we talking about here? So that should pretty much set the stage for, what we're dealing with here. So let me show you a bit more of these dudes. Kira TV did some great coverage about a year ago.
Today, guys?
You've just seen some new videos from the day before, and you know the release date.
We're looking forward to delivering the day before for you.
And now we have something more.
Our second inner team at Fantastic has been working on
Look at all the mannerisms, the gestures, everything is so well thought out.
something super fun.
It's so
over the year.
contrived.
We're happy to show you our new game, Prop Night.
Join Prop Night Open Beta right after the event.
It's like they're being held at gunpoint. So here's a fun fact about the video you're now looking at. This was promoted as some secret stream for the day before, at the peak of its interest. But no, it was not that. They decided to instead show off some completely unrelated game they're also working on, a much lesser and inferior game. And I'll let Kira TV tell you a little bit about that.
The most wishlisted game on Steam, a game that was being covered by thousands of YouTubers and Twitch streamers with a combined audience in the millions, or tens of millions, was using email invites to hook people into a live trailer launch, teasing the potential to play and livestream something amazing. That something amazing, though, was Prop Night, an unrelated game that this tiny indie development studio had apparently been working on in conjunction with The Day Before.
So let's jump into the chaos, shall we? So the game came out today overwhelmingly negative, sitting at 14% from over 7,000 people. So being the most wishlisted game on Steam, the moment this came out, it would have had a massive just influx of people. So that explains why the number is so high. But you better believe that the vast majority of these are going to be refunds. And before we jump to some of the comments, take a look at this thumbnail. Does that look familiar to you? It should, because it's pretty much exactly the Last of Us thumbnail. The typography, the details, the composition. In fact, it was shown that pretty much all their major advertising material is just mimicked from other games, including their trailer, which was more or less a one-to-one cut from an early Call of Duty game. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And here in the blurb, you can see this game is being advertised as an open world MMO survival. But the problem is, it's not an open world MMO. First comment, this is not an open world MMO. This is a small extraction shooter. The devs deleted all the videos showing the open world elements. So that's the other thing. This developer scrubbed their YouTube channel, removing all the old trailers so that nobody could say that they've been deceived, or that was their attempt anyway. This game is a scam. No open world survival elements. It's just an extraction shooter, and a bad one at that. Turns out this game is real. I kind of wish it wasn't. LMAO, not an MMO, not open world. Lying about the genre is a bad start. The day before refund. Nice. The day before you got scammed. It's an absolute garbage game compared to others they compared it to. Gameplay is nothing like the gameplay footage shown. So this is the big problem with this game. They had years of trailers that showed all this great stuff, and then when the game came out, none of that stuff is in there. And this kind of is reminiscent of the No Man's Sky situation, where No Man's Sky had all these great trailers, and then when it launched, they kind of scaled it back. So that's exactly what's happening here, but much, much worse. And it just goes on and on and on. Here's a good one. This is why aliens won't talk to us. So clearly now this has taken on a life of its own. And if you try to go to the game's Discord, you'll see that invites are currently paused. And I've got reports that the entire server is locked down. Complete damage control at this point. Can you imagine the discussions going on at that studio right now? To be a fly on the wall. And a lot of people have been working on this game for a long time for free. And I really feel for those people because I'm sure they put a lot of their time and energy into it, only to have it all unravel. And I don't think this game can come back from this. The chances are slim to none. And it's all because of the false advertising and the fact that this game, still on the main blurb, is claiming it's an open world MMO. And it's not. That's a problem. And I've been speaking to some people who are closer to Steam, and they're telling me that Steam is very likely going to pull this game because of the false advertising. Now, if that happens, I guess we'll soon find out. And it's just a reminder about these games with too much hype. You know, we saw that other game, which I covered a while ago, called Unrecord. Really hyper-realistic first-person shooter. That has also shot up to being like the top 5 wishlisted games on Steam. And, you know, people are skeptical as to whether the game will actually look like that at launch. And that's the problem with hype trains. At a point, they actually hurt the developer. You know, you don't want too much hype. You want that kind of middle-of-the-road hype. If you have that kind of stratosphere-breaking hype, that's tough because it's really hard to live up to that. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think about this game and this situation. What do you think about them advertising this as an open-world MMO only to release like a half-baked extraction shooter? And do you think, importantly, this game can come back from this? All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one.